The lecture hall buzzed with nervous energy. Rows of alien students shifted in their seats, their various appendages moving with a mix of excitement and unease. At the front of the room, Professor Yunwoo adjusted the holographic projector, preparing to reveal something that would change everything they knew about medical science. Jae-sung sat near the back, his breathing slow and measured. He was a third-year student at the Galactic Medical Academy. And today was different. Today, they would learn about humans. The first image flickered to life. It showed a being that looked fragile, soft skin, no protective scales, no extra limbs, no visible defensive adaptations. Jae-sung leaned forward, his curiosity growing. How could such a creature survive? Humans, Professor Yunwoo began, her voice calm and clear, are the most paradoxical species in the known universe. The hologram changed. Now it showed a human body with multiple highlighted areas. Red marks indicated past injuries, broken bones, deep cuts, burned skin. But instead of showing weakness, these marks seemed to tell a story of survival. Most species would be killed by injuries that humans call minor, the professor continued. Their pain tolerance is beyond anything we have ever studied. Their ability to heal is miraculous. And their mental resilience. She paused, unmatched. Jae-sung watched as the hologram demonstrated a human soldier continuing to fight after what would be a fatal injury for almost any other known species. A deep cut on the leg, broken ribs, a wound that should have stopped movement completely. Yet the human walked. No, not just walked. Ran, fought, survived. The other students made sounds of disbelief. Some looked scared. Others looked fascinated. Their medical files are not records of injury, Professor Yunwoo said. They are epic stories of survival. Another image appeared. A human hand, fingers wrapped in makeshift bandages, holding a complex tool. The hand was scared, rough, with skin that told stories of hard work and harder survival. It wasn't pretty, but it was strong. Jae-sung realized he was holding his breath. The professor clicked to the next slide. Medical data scrolled across the screen. Impossible healing rates, pain thresholds that defied scientific understanding, cellular regeneration that seemed more like magic than biology. Humans do not just survive, Professor Yunwoo said softly. They challenged the very definition of survival. A video started playing, a human medical procedure that would have killed any other species. The patient was awake, talking, even joking. What should have been a moment of extreme pain was treated like a minor inconvenience. Jae-sung's hand trembled slightly. He was taking notes, but his mind was racing. Everything he knew about medicine, about life, about survival, was being rewritten in this moment. The lecture continued. More impossible stories, more unbelievable medical records, humans falling from great heights and walking away. Humans surviving in environments that should have killed them instantly. Humans treating what other species would consider fatal injuries as mere inconveniences. When the lecture ended, Jae-sung sat very still. The other students were talking, arguing. Some even looked frightened. But he was thinking. Humans were not just another species to study. They were a complete rewrite of everything medical science thought it knew. And this was just the beginning. The medical exchange program was supposed to be simple. Bring a human to the Galactic Medical Academy. Let the alien students learn. Watch. Take notes. Nobody expected Michael. He walked into the advanced trauma simulation room like he owned the place. Tall with skin that looked too soft, too breakable. His right arm was in a weird position. Slightly bent, a faded bruise visible near the elbow. Some of the alien students backed away. Humans were still new, still strange. Hai-jin stood closest to him. She was the most curious student in the class. Where others saw danger, she saw a puzzle waiting to be solved. "You're injured," she said, her translation device making her words clear and direct. Michael looked down at his arm. He laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, this," he said, rotating his arm with a casual motion that made several alien medical students gasp. "It's just a broken arm. I'm fine." The room went silent. Professor Yunwu's monitoring equipment started beeping wildly. The medical scanners couldn't process what they were seeing. A broken arm. But the human said he was fine. Haijin approached Michael, her medical scanner already in hand. The device was state-of-the-art, capable of reading the most complex biological systems in the known universe. It was designed to give perfect, precise readings. It flickered, sparked, went completely crazy. "Explain," Haijin demanded, her translator giving her words a sharp edge. Michael shrugged. "Happened last week during my morning workout. Thought it was just a small crack. Kept training. No big deal." The alien medical students looked at each other. A broken arm was not a small crack in their world. A broken arm meant weeks of healing, months of careful treatment, possible permanent damage. For this human, it was just another Tuesday. Haijin's scanner finally stabilized. The readings were impossible. The bone was healing, but not in any way the medical text described. It was healing faster, stronger. The break wasn't just mending. It was transforming. "How is this possible?" she whispered. Michael grinned. "Human biology. Pretty cool, right?" Cool was not the word any of the alien medical students would have used. Terrifying was closer to the truth. Professor Yunwu stepped forward. Her tentacles, or whatever passed for hands in her species, were perfectly still. This was beyond anything in their medical databases, beyond anything they had ever studied. "Demonstrate," she said. Michael flexed his arm, moved it in ways that should have been impossible for a recently broken limb. No wincing, no pain, just smooth, easy movement. The medical students watched in shock. Haijin's mind was racing. This was more than an injury. This was a complete redefinition of what injury meant, what healing meant, what the human body was capable of doing. "A broken arm," Michael repeated, "is totally fine." In that moment, everything the Galactic Medical Academy thought they knew about medical science changed forever. The research team worked day and night. What started as a simple observation had become the most important medical investigation in galactic history. Jae-sung spread the data across multiple holographic screens. Each screen showed a different aspect of human physiology that defied everything they knew about biology. Pain tolerance. That was the first impossible thing. Humans could ignore injuries that would paralyze other species, a cut that would make a Zorn warrior collapse. Humans would clean it and keep working. Broken bones that should stop movement. Humans would walk, even run. The medical database grew. Each file was more unbelievable than the last. One report showed a human soldier continuing a mission with 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, and a deep wound in his leg. Medical scans revealed he wasn't just surviving. He was healing faster than any known species. Haijin discovered something even more strange. Human bodies didn't just heal. They adapted. Their bones grew stronger after breaking. Their muscles rebuilt themselves better after injury. Their immune system learned and improved with each challenge. It was like their entire body was a learning machine. The term Deathworlder started to make sense. Most species evolved to avoid danger. Humans seemed to evolve by facing it head-on. Their biology was a constant battle, a constant improvement. Temperature was another mystery. Humans survived in conditions that would kill other species. Extreme cold, extreme heat. They didn't just survive. They worked. They fought. They lived. Their cellular regeneration was not just fast. It was intelligent. When other species healed, cells simply replaced what was lost. When humans healed, cells studied the injury, learned from it, rebuilt stronger. Jae-sung found a medical report about a human who had survived a chemical exposure that should have destroyed every cell in their body. Not only did they survive, but their body developed new protection against similar chemicals. The research team worked harder. They collected every medical record, every injury report, every single piece of data about human physiology. We are not just studying a species, Professor Yunwoo told her team. We are studying a completely different approach to life itself. Hai-Jin's research report had a simple title, Humans, a Medical Paradigm Shift. The report would change everything medical science thought it knew. Humans were not just another species to study. They were a complete rewrite of biological understanding. Their bodies were not just survival machines. They were evolution in real time, constant adaptation, constant improvement, a living, breathing challenge to everything known about life. The galaxy was about to learn that humans were not weak. They were something entirely new. The medical academy looked different now. Where once there were clean, safe simulation rooms, now chaos reigned. Hai-Jin stood at the center of it all. Her new training program was nothing like the old medical courses. The first simulation room looked like a war zone. Broken equipment, scattered medical tools, holographic wounds that looked too real, too painful. "Welcome to Deathworlder Trauma Management," she announced to a group of nervous alien medical students. Nobody moved. The room was designed to push every limit, to break every rule of medical training they had ever known. Humans had shown them that everything they understood about injury was wrong. First test, a simulated human with multiple severe injuries, a deep leg wound that would kill most species, broken ribs, internal bleeding, the kind of injuries that would make other medical teams give up. The students watched in horror as the simulation continued. The human in the scenario kept moving, kept fighting, kept surviving. "Your job is not to panic," Hai-Jin explained. "Your job is to keep the patient alive, no matter what." Previous medical training was about prevention, careful treatment, avoiding risk. Human medical training was about survival, pure and simple. Each simulation became more extreme, more impossible. Students learned to treat injuries that would have been considered fatal. They learned to move faster, think differently, understand that the human body was not a fragile thing to be protected. It was a machine that could rebuild itself. Jae-sung watched from the observation room. He remembered the first lecture about humans, how impossible everything had seemed then. Now, it was becoming their new normal. The training modules got harder each week. By the third month, students who would have fainted at the sight of blood were now calmly treating what looked like impossible injuries. Professor Yunwoo reviewed the training results. The numbers were shocking. Student performance had increased by over 300%. Humans were rewriting medical science, and these students were learning a whole new way of thinking. Survival is not about avoiding damage, Hai-Jin would tell her students. It's about how you respond when damage happens. The simulation of a human soldier played again. Wounded, bleeding, still fighting. This was more than medical training. This was a complete revolution in how they understood life itself. The joint military exercise was supposed to be a simple training mission. Nobody expected what would happen. Hai-Jin and Jae-sung were part of the medical response team. They had trained for months, studied every impossible human medical scenario, but nothing prepared them for reality. The human soldiers moved like machines, hard, fast, dangerous. Then the explosion happened. Chaos erupted. Smoke filled the air. Alien and human medical teams rushed forward. One human soldier lay on the ground. His injuries were beyond anything they had seen in simulations. A deep cut across his chest, shrapnel embedded in his leg, broken bones visible through his damaged protective gear. Any other species would be dead. This human was trying to stand up. Hai-Jin's training kicked in. No panic, no fear, just pure medical focus. "Stabilize," she told her team. Her voice was calm, clear. The medical scanners went crazy. The human's body was already fighting. Cells moving, healing, adapting. Jae-sung worked on the shrapnel wounds. His hands moved faster than he thought possible. Everything they had learned was happening right in front of them. The soldier looked up. smiled. "Just a flesh wound," he said. Those words, the same words Michael had used weeks ago in their lecture hall. Jin realized something important. Humans didn't just survive injuries. They challenged them. Other medical teams would have given up, would have declared the situation hopeless. Their team kept working. Hours later, the human soldier was stable, not just alive, healing. The wounds that should have killed him were already starting to close. "Incredible," Jae-sung whispered. Professor Yunwoo reviewed the medical reports. Her eyes were wide. The data was impossible, but it was real. This was more than a medical mission. This was proof that everything they knew about survival was wrong. Humans were not just another species. They were a complete redefinition of life itself. Jae-sung discovered something more important than physical healing. Human resilience was inside their mind. They called it walking it off, pushing through pain, ignoring what should stop them. A human researcher visited the medical academy. She had a fresh scar on her face. Her arm was in a partial cast. But she smiled, worked, talked like nothing was wrong. "How?" Jin asked. "How do you ignore such pain?" The human laughed. "Pain is just information," she said. "Not a stop sign, just a message." Those words changed everything. Other species saw pain as a warning. Humans saw it as a challenge. Medical records showed impossible stories. Humans completing missions with broken bones, running with torn muscles, working after injuries that would paralyze other species. It wasn't just about physical healing. It was about mental strength. Humans didn't just survive. They chose to survive. Every single moment was a decision to keep going. The medical team studied human psychology. Their brain chemistry was different. Their neural pathways worked in ways no other species understood. When other species would rest, humans would push forward. When other species would give up, humans would find another way. Pain was not a barrier. It was just another problem to solve. Jae-sung found an old human saying, "Mind over matter." Now he understood what it meant. Humans didn't just heal their bodies. They rebuilt their entire experience of survival. Their mental strength was their greatest weapon, more powerful than any medical technology, more important than any physical ability. They didn't just survive injuries. They conquered them. The medical revolution spread faster than anyone expected. Alien civilizations received the new human medical research. At first, they didn't believe it. Then they studied it. Then they changed everything. Old medical books were thrown away. New training began. Jin's research became the most important document in galactic medical history. Her title was simple: Humans, a complete rewrite of survival. Medical schools across different planets changed their entire approach. Where they once taught careful protection, now they taught aggressive healing. The Zorn Medical Council was the first to fully adopt the new training. Their warriors had always been strong, but human medical understanding made them stronger. Species that once saw injury as a weakness now saw it as an opportunity to improve. Healing was no longer about returning to normal. It was about becoming better than before. Jae-sung watched the changes. Medical textbooks that were thousands of years old became useless. New understanding replaced old thinking. Hospitals redesigned their entire approach. Surgery became faster, more direct, more aggressive. They learned from humans that waiting was not always the best medicine. Sometimes, fast action meant survival. The galactic medical community had a new motto: heal like a human. It meant more than just medical treatment. It meant an entire philosophy of survival. Don't just survive. Overcome. Adapt. Improve. Humans had changed everything. Not with weapons, not with technology. With their impossible biology. Their unbreakable spirit. The galaxy was learning a new way to live. Jin and Jae-sung stood in their research lab. Years of studying humans had changed them completely. They were no longer just medical researchers. They were something else, something more. Their first paper about human medical capabilities had shocked the galaxy. Now, They were changing how every species understood survival. Hai-Jin looked at the wall covered with human medical records. Each file told a story of impossible survival. Each record showed how humans redefined what was possible. "We thought we knew medicine," Jae-sung said quietly. Humans had taught them that medicine was more than fixing injuries. It was about understanding life itself. Their research team had become legendary. Other species came from across the galaxy to learn their methods, to understand how humans survived. They discovered something deeper than medical science. Humans didn't just heal, they transformed. Every injury was a chance to become stronger. Every challenge was an opportunity to improve. The medical world had changed, and Hai-Jin and Jae-sung were at the center of that change. Their latest research wasn't just about human biology. It was about a new way of understanding life. Survive, adapt, improve. Those three words became their entire philosophy. Humans had shown them that survival was not about avoiding danger. It was about facing it, learning from it, growing because of it. The galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Medical Academy looked different now. A giant hologram hung in the main hall. It showed a human soldier, broken, bleeding, but still fighting. The Academy's new motto was carved in big letters below the image. Where others see limitation, humans see a challenge to overcome. Jae-sung walked through the hall. So much had changed. Medical training was no longer about avoiding risk. It was about facing challenges, learning from them, growing stronger. Every medical student now studied human cases, not as strange stories, but as the new standard of survival. Other species had learned something important. Humans were not weak. They were not fragile. They were the most adaptable life form in the universe. Their bodies did more than heal. They learned. They improved. They transformed. A young alien medical student approached Jae-sung. Her eyes were bright with excitement. "Tell me about humans," she said. Jae-sung smiled. He remembered his first lecture about humans, how impossible everything had seemed then. Now it was their new normal. Humans, he began, are not just a species. They are a complete redefinition of life itself.